Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at Ibrox has just got underway. Europa Conference League, it's Glasgow Rangers taking on Tottenham Hotspur. A big game involving two really big sides from Scotland and England, and both sides with a point to prove. But I'll come back to that in a second. Spurs on the attack straight away. Lovely ball from Johnson, finding Werner, who breaks into the box down the left-hand side. They're appealing for a corner there, the visitors, and they get it inside the first 20 seconds. Well, it actually started with Rangers going with a long ball towards the edge of the Spurs penalty area. The visitors then move it quickly, and it's Brennan Johnson switching the play out towards the left-hand side. Far too much space there for Werner. He gets closed down by Tavernier eventually. But it will be a corner kick. But maybe that's a nice little sign of how things are going to go in this game. Two teams who are much better at attacking than they are defending. I'll bring my colleague in just a second. But we'll see this corner kick from James Maddison first. He whips it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, far too close to Butland, who makes a comfortable save. So it's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Lewis Rafferty taking it through the action. And Lewis, we were just saying off air that two sides who are much better going forward than they are defending. So hopefully we're going to see quite an attacking game.
Hopefully. That's at least from the neutral point of view, you always just want to see a good game, and sometimes it's a good defensive battle. I think, as you said, this would be a game that, fingers crossed, and they don't let us down. It's a good attacking display. Rangers in Europe are always a weird proposition. Sometimes they show up and do well. We're just speaking as well, you don't know what Spurs you're going to get as well. The one that lost to Bournemouth 1-0, or the one that battered Man City 4-0. We don't know, but maybe Rangers have a chance coming forward here with Igaman.
Trying to keep the ball as high as they can here, the home side. It just gets away from Igaman, and it's played back towards Archie Gray, who's in this central defensive role this evening. Pedro Porro now with a long clearance down the right-hand side. It's just a bit too much of a bounce there for Brennan Johnson to be able to get on the end of it. Just to remind you of the two teams then, it is Jack Butland in goal for Rangers, the back four of James Tavernier, John Sutar, Robin Proper and Rad van Ilmaz. Then it's Nicholas Raskin and Nedim Bayrami as the two holder midfielders, with Václav Černý, Mohamed Diamande and Jefte as the attacking three, playing behind Hamza Igmane. As for Spurs, it is Fraser Forster in goal, the back four of Pedro Porro, Archie Gray, Radu Dragusin and Destiny Udogi. It's Rodrigo Bentancur and Yves Bissouma as the defensive midfield, with Brennan Johnson, James Maddison and Timo Werner as the attacking three, playing behind Son. It could also be a 4-3-3 from Spurs, with Maddison dropping a bit deeper. We'll wait and see how it plays out, but for the time being it is Rangers on the attack now down the left-hand side. It just about gets through towards Ilmaz. He goes for goal. His shot is charged down by Dragusin, and then it's Gray in the end clearing his lines there for Spurs. This will be picked up by Rangers on the left-hand side, but both sides getting forward in the first couple of minutes.
They are out there, and I think that's the thing, is it's not saying that either side are the best defensive teams in the world. I think they do have problems, but I just really rate how both teams go forward. Long ball forward, chance for Rangers.
It's a great ball. It's Ilmaz that's got forward. He's onside for the time being, at least. He lays the ball off. The strike comes in. I think there may be a delayed offside flag now against Ilmaz anyway, but that's a sign as well. I mean, he's the left back on paper, but after Rangers had lost the ball, Spurs had a goal kick, and even after all of that, he was still the furthest forward when Rangers got the ball back.
Really dangerous, wasn't it? It's him and Hefty on that left-hand side, isn't it? It's almost that both of them are attacking wing-backs, full-backs, however you like to look at it. So it's almost right. One will probably go forward and the other might sit back, but that may cause a lot of problems for Spurs, and it's quite a makeshift back four for Spurs. Well, and I say there's probably actually Gray the one, isn't it? That's makeshift. Udogi, Porro and Dragusin are out-and-out defenders. But Archie Gray, there's a lot of pressure on him. He's a fantastic footballer. Is he a centre-back? Probably not. But Rangers stringing some good passes, and here they come.
Well, they're going forward again here now, finding some space down the left-hand side. It's with Hefte now. His cross is charged down by Dragusin. Well, it's not because Postecoglou's trying to rotate or experiment with Gray as a centre-back. He really has no other options. With so many players out injured, of course, he's got Ben Davies out. Van de Ven is out again, and now, of course, after the weekend, Romero is out as well. So Spurs having to chop and change in terms of their back four. But that said, I just wonder, Pedro Porro's more experienced as a defender, but then he's a better right back, but then Gray doesn't really have any centre-back experience. I suppose it's a difficult one, really. I suppose the two are going to have to support each other on that right-hand side.
Yeah, it might sound stupid. I know if there's centre-back options lacking, I'm maybe surprised he doesn't go for a back three to drop a defensive midfielder in and maybe change it up. Again, managers are really stuck to the tactics and principles, aren't they? But maybe you add him in and you play Porro as that third centre-back and change it up. Of course, we know how Postecoglou is. He's very much played to it. Long ball here, Rangers are in.
It's a great ball up from Butland, and Igmane gets on the end of it. It's just about enough there from Dragusin, and it's a swept clearance from Forster, who has to, it just about gets it away from his penalty here, but it's still kept alive here by Ilmaz on the left-hand side. He wants to get across, and he's being marshalled there by Pedro Porro. Goes back in towards Hefte. He's got no options for a cross. Plays it back in towards... well, in the end, it's all over here for Rangers as Raskin picks the ball up. There was actually an offside at the very beginning of that. It's a very delayed flag. I mean, he is offside, there's no doubt about it, but really the linesman should be able to tell himself there. The Spurs defenders were stood on the halfway line, and the Rangers player was the only one inside the Spurs half, so it should have been obvious, really.
Yeah, that's one of them where they're told out there, I think, so much to keep your flag down that it's almost they just never want to put it up until the game's played.
I suppose on the one hand, if it's a 1 in 100 chance he gets that wrong, then we'd be screaming out and saying, why did he put his flag up? But on that occasion, I mean, they allowed play to go on for so long before they eventually did stop play. But Diamande now starting another move here for Rangers. A better start here for the home side after just one attack from Spurs. It's all Rangers now, and they're off down the right-hand side. Cherney getting into the box. Perhaps just holds onto the ball for a little bit too long. Allows Bissouma just to dispossess him. Still a fight to try and get the ball back here on the right-hand side for Rangers. Eventually, Udogie plays that off Tavernier. But that's a shame because Cherney, first time he gets on the ball, probably should have looked to try and pass it a bit quicker.
Yeah, maybe if he could have just maybe upped that tempo, was a little bit quicker with it there. But again, right now, who's showing up? It's the Spurs who lost to Bournemouth, unfortunately. I'm not trying to take any credit away from Bournemouth. They were fantastic that evening as well. But it's just the Spurs that look a little bit out of it. They haven't picked up the ball. Ibrox is a fantastic atmosphere, of course. We can see all the fans that are there. But that pass there from Archie Gray's being picked off too easily. Even Porro's trying to battle for it. They're coming off second best right now, aren't they? The Spurs will pick it up and they will get their chance back in the game. But right now, Rangers are looking very good and very confident. And as we were saying just off air, that they're really picking up some form, and a win over Spurs would be massive.
It would be huge, and as I say, it will certainly take the pressure off Philippe Clement, who really was under real pressure around a month or 6 weeks ago. It looked like he was under, well, it was almost like odds on to lose his job at one stage, wasn't he? But Rangers really have recovered over the past 5 or 6 weeks. With that impressive 4-1 win away at Nice. They follow that up with wins in the Scottish Premiership away to St Johnstone, smashing Kilmarnock 6-0 at home and then beating Ross County 3-0 away. And it's just the small matter of Celtic in the League Cup to come at the weekend. So they can go into that game after a win against top English Premier League side. Rangers will be absolutely buzzing, but for the time being, Spurs have just slowed things down inside their own half. No surprise, they just need to take the sting out of this Rangers attack. Pedro Porro playing it back to Dragusin. Sweeps a quick ball out towards the left-hand side. There's some space here for Timo Werner. He's got an overlap as well. Just chooses to go alone for the time being. Then he leaves the ball with James Maddison. Maddison running straight into, looks like it was Diamande. He said he was being fouled. Referee says no. Sandro Schara, by the way, from Switzerland is our official this evening. Benson Kurt, of course, he's not banned from UEFA games. He's able to play for Spurs whilst he's got that long Premier League ban. Ball now out towards the right-hand side for Brennan Johnson. A bit of a heavy touch there from Son, but he does well to recover. Gets towards the edge of the area. It's still Heung-min Son. Oh, he's holding on to the ball for too long. Gets brought down, does he not? Referee says no, but Udogie recycles it, and he goes to Maddison, whose effort is over the bar. In fact, it was Werner, I beg your pardon, on that left-hand side, who goes for goal. But Son, in the end, I thought he did really well after he held on to the ball for a little bit too long. And then potentially a free kick there from Diamande.
I think it's one of them where I think maybe he's unlucky not to get. Maybe if he's more in control of the ball, maybe it goes for him. Maybe that's why the referee says that. It's a good chance there for Werner. He's always trying to do the. You know what he's coming. It's predictable, but at the same time, if he puts on in the top corner, you don't care how predictable it is. That's hard for the keeper to say. But as you said, Son does so well. He almost tries to do a little bit too much, if anything, to get away from his man. Best piece of play from Spurs so far there, and such a lively game so far.
It is, and Rangers trying to match Spurs now with a quick attack themselves, but the pass out from Tavernier from the right-hand side won't reach its intended target. It's back with Tottenham now. Dragusin is playing it short to Archie Gray. Back to Radu Dragusin. Maddison's dropped a little bit deeper this time. Looks like it is a midfield three here for Spurs with Maddison, Bissouma and Benson Kurt. Now Son, he's dropped a bit deeper as well. It's Udogie, interesting enough. He's the furthest forward here for Spurs in this attack. It's Werner down the left-hand side. Johnson's in the box now alongside Udogie, but that's a really good challenge there from Tavernier. Captain leading by example there for Rangers. Wins the ball back and it's threaded quickly through here as Bayrami spots Cherney down the right-hand side. Cherney getting towards the edge of the area. Back to Bayrami. Bayrami goes for goal, and he was a tight angle for a right footer. Gets fingertips off Fraser Forster, though. That will be a corner kick, but it's a good counter from Rangers, but it's too easy from Spurs' point of view, I think.
It is, and as soon as Werner lost that ball there, as you said, it's lovely in an attacking sense, but Udogie was the furthest player forward for Spurs, so that meant he was at least player back there, and it was a lovely little couple of passes there. It's one of them, isn't it, where actually it might have just been sneaking in.
I think we've actually got to give credit to Forster for making a save there, because if he doesn't get that hand to it, I think that could just be creeping under the bar. Certainly looked like it might have been heading towards the crossbar there. Credit to the central midfielder there, going for goal from a tight angle, really, a right footer from that right diagonal. It's going to be an in-swinger now from the left-hand side. A chance here for Rangers to test Spurs from a set piece. It's a short ball. Czerny holds it up, and then he goes for a left-footed cross. It's too close to Forster, who punches towards the edge of the area. Shot coming in from Radvan Ilmaz, but he gets that one all wrong and hoists that one many yards over the bar.
Yeah, that wasn't as good as it could have been. It's one of them, he was leaning back, wasn't he? A lot of pressure on him. One of them, you can't really fault him for going for it. Forster was a little bit out of his goal. But again, to go back to that, what a save that was from Forster. He's had to come in, hasn't he? He's a good goalkeeper, of course. He's getting on in age, but really coming up trumps for Spurs in recent times and in recent games. But now back and forth because Werner's coming forward.
Absolutely, Werner's going forward now. His ball towards the edge of the area is swept clear. Of course, Forster's another former Celtic man returning this evening alongside Ange Postecoglou. Forster did have a couple of seasons up in Scotland as well, so I'm sure he's getting a lovely reception from those Rangers fans this evening. But yeah, it's been a sort of game I think we were hoping for, really, with both teams trying to swap blows here attacking wise. And here comes Spurs again. It's Werner's ball into Maddison. Oh, it's Son. He pokes it towards goal. I mean, I think that was an effort on goal from Heung-min Son. I mean, Brennan Johnson was quite close, so you could argue that he was trying to get it through to him, but from where Son is stood, I think he's shooting. He's just not quite got the right contact with the ball there.
Unfortunately, not very similar to a degree to the goal that scored later on against Chelsea. Maddison on the line into Son, and Son at least that time at the weekend was able to open up his body and almost pass it in the back of the net. Wasn't there, but Rangers are going so direct. Spurs are trying to build up, getting the better of him in the midfield part, then coming forward. Rangers, because of the high line Postecoglou is known for, getting through them. They've won it out of the pitch again. Here they come.
Well, they do. They win it back as Spurs were looking to get the ball away from their own penalty area. Ilmaz just holds it up, plays it back in towards Raskin. Raskin in towards Diamande. And eventually Rangers having to play it back towards the halfway line. But with so many teams almost forced to play out from the back in the Premier League, the way their managers set them up, perhaps it's a bit of a culture shock for Spurs to see a European team just hoisting it long. But why not? It's still an effective way of getting the ball forward. Obviously, you can't do it every single time as Rangers trying to stop a counter-attack. There's going to be a warning, I think, here on the left-hand side without a yellow card, though, for Hefte. I think the referee is just telling him that was a deliberate pullback. It's on the halfway line. It's not much of a hold, but any more than that, I think he was going to be looking at a yellow there.
Yeah, I think if that's probably stopping not a goal-scoring chance, but a real out-and-out chance to come forward, as you say, easily a cynical yellow card. But as you say, it's just Johnson getting the better of him, getting away. Even if he gets the better of him, there's still a couple of Rangers players to come over and help out. So, as you say, last opportunity there for FD. But again, it's good play from Spurs, and I think right now, we're only 13 minutes in, it's absolutely flown by. It's in the sense, I think we're just missing that real one out-and-out one-on-one chance. I know that Rami had that chance. It wasn't really one-on-one, was it? It was a good save by Forster. As I said, we saw the replay back. More credit to the Spurs keeper after seeing that. Son had that chance. They were all a little bit half-hearted, but this game, as you say, really living up to expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I say if you were backing both teams to score here, I think you're going to be okay. Although you can never tell, of course. I mean, Spurs could score and could shut up shop, which doesn't really sound like them. But you just never know how these things are going to play out in a match once we're up and running. But certainly the first 13 and a half minutes here would suggest that we're going to see at least a couple of goals in this game, just from the way the two sides are trying to go from one end to the other. It's now played back towards goalkeeper Forster. Just being closed down here. In fact, he's got a bit more time just to roll this one out towards Archie Gray. And that's a poor ball out on the left-hand side. And credit there to Timo Werner, because that was a giveaway of possession there from Spurs. Dragusin with the poor pass towards Udogi, but it's just about kept in play. And Spurs still have possession here in midfield now, with Pedro Porro being closed down by Hefte. Goes out towards the right-hand side for Brennan Johnson. He can't control it, though. Rangers now have it back. It's with Ilmaz. And now Robin Proper sending it back towards his goalkeeper. Butland under pressure here from Son. Can't take too long on the ball, and he does well there. Butland clears it long down the middle, straight onto the foot of Archie Gray, who hooks it back into the Rangers half. A little bit too much on that one, and Sousar's able to get the ball back here for the home side. As Rangers still enjoying the lion's share of possession in these first nearly 15 minutes, which won't necessarily bother Postecoglou and his side. I mean, Spurs can certainly do a lot of damage on the counter-attack, but I suppose the more possession Rangers have, the more comfortable they get, and there's more of a danger of them actually doing something.
100%, and I think as well, maybe Rangers are quite happy to on the counter as Johnson's won it high. Here comes Spurs.
Raskin's been caught in possession, and suddenly Spurs have got a glorious opportunity. Johnson stops at the edge of the area. It goes back to Maddison, whose effort takes a big deflection. It's not going to be on target anymore, but it will go out for a corner kick. It's just Raskin dawdling on the ball there. It's actually Bissouma who can't quite get the ball off him. But that sort of starts to move off. That allows Johnson to then win the ball back for Spurs. And then it's a shot from Maddison, which takes a big deflection.
Yeah, now it's forces a corner, and I think Spurs will be quite decent from these. Of course, they're missing the hide of Van der Ven and Romero, as you said, but you've still got Son, who will make fantastic runs in and around there. Werner's going to be a menace. Dragison's a big fella as it is, and Maddison's a fantastic dead ball specialist. So 15.5 minutes in corner for Spurs, and maybe this is how the visitors get the opener.
Chance here now for Spurs as it's going to be an outswinger from Maddison. Sends it towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Good strong header away there. I think it was, looked like it might have been Igmane with the header, but then a second effort comes in from just outside the box. That is charged down. The effort was from Bissouma. Ball is now on the halfway line, but his range is on the counter. It's Yilmaz's pass is too quick, and Hamza Igmane is not going to get on the end of that one. It's easily claimed here by Fraser Forster. Visitors now back in possession over on the right-hand side with Pedro Porro. Step back in towards Archie Gray. Rush here from Spurs. Bissouma now going out towards the left-hand side. Under pressure there from Czerny, going back in towards Werner. Bissouma now back towards his own half. I mean, it's a bit slower now from Spurs, but from their point of view, I think what they want to do is to just start to have a little bit more possession so they can get into their own stride. We haven't really seen too much of that from Spurs so far.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and as you said earlier as well, almost take the sting out of Rangers' attack because they've started so well, and as you said, it's absolutely bouncing in Ibrox. Maybe just 5 minutes of, right, if the chance to open up, we will take it and we'll go forward. But just knock it around, take this thing out of it, almost get maybe some booze going at Ibrox. I'm not too sure. That's lovely from Spurs. So Porro puts the ball into the back sticks. Werner keep it alive. So Spurs are still coming forward.
Yeah, the cross doesn't find anyone in the penalty, but there was no one in the penalty area in fairness. Werner does keep it alive, as you said. It's now played back towards James Maddison, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Here is Werner again, right on the left wing, being closed down here by Tavernier. There's 3 Spurs players in the box if he can get across it. Werner does put a low ball in, which is stabbed clear by Sutar, and then it's hooked up in the air, cleared in the end there by Diamande up towards the halfway line. Spurs win it back straight away though. Here is Maddison, goes square to Pedro Porro, holding it up here. Pedro Porro going back towards the halfway line. It's quickly over now on the right-hand side. Bissouma finding Bentancur has got into a more wide position this time. Bentancur holding it up and then playing it back towards the halfway line. Option here for the visitors for the time being, but they'll be quite happy just to keep the ball here, Spurs. Now with Archie Gray to drag us in, close down. I suppose the other thing I was thinking with Archie Gray is that if Spurs are planning on having a lot of possession this evening, having someone like Gray as a centre-back isn't a bad idea, because of course he's more of a midfielder really anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, it's almost you're playing with one centre-back, aren't you? Czerny, lovely feet there to
well,
get
just
away.
as we were getting into that, Czerny wins the ball back here for Rangers, then he goes on the run, and it's a pass through towards the edge of the area, and there was an advantage played, ironically, because there was a slight knock there onto Václav Czerny, which the referee allows the advantage, but a couple of moves later, he passes the ball, it doesn't reach its intended target, so in the end, there's no free kick there for Rangers either, but that's a warning. There's a strong challenge there in the middle of the park. Robin Proper going through Pedro Porro. Dutchman bringing down the Spanish international there. You can see Czerny does really well, just sort of ghosts past James Maddison, cuts into the middle, gets away from Bissouma. I think that's where the referee said there was an advantage. And then once again, it's that man, Yilmaz, he's the one furthest forward.
Yeah, he's really making those dangerous runs, isn't he? And that's what you need against Spurs, is players making those runs, because they are going to give up space in behind that back line. And as you said about Archie Gray as well, with Dragusin, Van der Ven and Romero, you hold that high line, but they are pacey players. You can kind of afford to. Archie Gray, he is more of that technical, savvy midfielder. He's not the quickest on the turn, is he? So if you maybe attack down your left-hand side where Gray is on the right-hand side for Spurs, that's where Rangers get some opportunities and some love in this game, and that's where Yilmaz is, and he's popping up there. Maybe it just takes one. If that pass is right from Czerny, it's a one-on-one, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. Yilmaz, of course, left footer, so if he was able to come across that right-hand side, he'd be able to get himself into a position for a shot across the goalkeeper. But for the time being, it is Spurs now. They're starting to see more and more of the ball, actually, in the last 5 or 6 minutes. First 5-10 minutes of this game, you'd say Rangers was starting to shade it in terms of the possession stats. Now, I would say the last 5 or 6 minutes is definitely more for the side from North London, although they're struggling to get so close to the penalty. There's a handball there from Diamande. That's probably going to be a booking as well. Referee actually sort of even imitating what Diamande did there, effectively saying that you batted the ball out from the sky, so what do you expect me to do? And yeah, I mean, the referee can't ignore that, and I suppose that is a yellow card as well.
Yeah,
and that's going to be, he's missing the next game now, Diamande, as well.
I think that might be the clash against United as well, possibly, if it is, and that's a big one, isn't it, that the Diamande misses, and because he's playing as almost, at least on paper, he's at 10, but it's a free, isn't it, really fluid free. Good play from Spurs, here they come.
They do, it's a ball in from Werner, which is just a little bit too high for Son, and then I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there that Hefte meant to do that. But what he actually did was he got into his own penalty area and then lobbed the ball up in the air. I actually think he was just trying to stop the cross, but it ended up being a perfect pass to the goalkeeper, which can't be ruled as a back pass, so it worked out very well.
Yeah, it did, and I think the problem they had there is that ball into the box for Son, if that's Solanke on the end of it, that's probably a better chance than what it is. Son's a forward who wants it obviously more maybe whipped on the surface into his feed, makes it easier for him. I think in this system, Son suits striker better. When he's out on that wing, he's so isolated and he's almost having to pick up the ball, run at three players to get involved. Whereas he's a striker, he's got a bit more room to roam in those areas and cause chaos. But at the same time, as an out-and-out goal scorer, Solanke is probably a better option. Yeah. But at the same time, he's on the bench and he's an option.
He is. I mean, as I say, if Spurs need a goal in the second half, or they need to get the game over the line, it's not a bad option to bring someone like Solanke on. A couple of other options in terms of Kulusevski as well, which is obviously a big boost for their attack. Just you mentioned the next games. Yeah, there are 2 games left for these sides after Christmas. Towards the end of January, Rangers away to Manchester United, then at home to Belgian side Union Saint-Gilloise, whereas Spurs are away to Hoffenheim before ending their league campaign at home to the Danish side Elfsborg. So that's how it all looks in the Europa League for these 2 sides in the last. Still seems weird talking about Swedish side I should say, Elfsborg, but it still seems weird talking about sides that are going to be playing group or league stage games in Europe after Christmas. But of course the idea was to give everyone more games, so that's why they've had to extend it.
Yeah, it'll feel weird. January almost feels like a month where everyone resets to a degree. A lot of obviously Christmas breaks, not in England and Scotland, but of course in a Germany or a France. But lovely play from Rangers here.
Well, here they come again. They're finding more space here. It's Czerny into the box. It's cut back. Oh, it's just away from Czerny. That was a lovely ball from Bayrami, but it just got a little bit too far away from Czerny for him to be able to use it. And Spurs now have it back with the doggy on the left-hand side, exchanging a quick pass with Bentancur before he skips past 2 Rangers players, but he can't quite get away from Tavernier. And it's now Rangers back in possession. Diamande square to Ilmaz. He's not on the left, but Hefte is, and Hefte just about skips past Pedro Porro. Then he goes for goal. Archie Gray closing him down. Hefte's a left footer shooting from the left-hand side, so the angles were against him anyway, but he's able to get a corner kick, and with that I think we can hand over now. We're over the halfway mark in this first half. It is Rangers 0, Tottenham 0, and it'll be Lewis take us through to half-time.
Thank you very much. What a game we've had. As we said earlier, I thought for myself expectations were quite high for this game at Ibrox, and very much living up to it. As you said, both teams to score is one of them where are we destined for maybe the quality missing and then just waiting for that goal. Rangers do have the set piece, as you said, and Hefty had that chance deflected away, and maybe it's a set piece that maybe for either team get us going. It'll be Tavernier to take another in-swinger very similar to the one he had last time out into the 6-yard box, headed away well by Spurs. Will it trickle out for a throw? And it won't. Might as well get there on the right-hand side, goes from left to right. The Rangers fullback has it on the right-hand side. Will it be whipped in by Diamande? Good ball to the edge of the area. They go further back and they keep possession. The patient is good from Rangers. Hefty further infield. That's a poor touch, and Bentancur is on him like a rash in the space here. If Spurs can use this right, there's the overlapping with Johnson on the right-hand side. Song does so well to nearly find him. Hefty nearly wins it back. Butland has the ball, and I feel that's so unlucky because as soon as Son played that, I thought that's a lovely ball. It was just better defending.
It was better defending, but goodness me, I mean, Hefty apologises. He's barely had time to apologise, and he's given the ball away again.
Pedro Porro tries to play one into Johnson, and Maddison in the same vicinity, and Hefty, maybe he was the one who needs to just maybe take a 5 minutes, just sort your head out, because as you say, he was saying sorry for giving the ball away, oops, I've done it again, and then he's saying it once again. It's just one of them. It's a poor one, isn't it?
Terrible. I mean, it's nowhere near its intended target. There are so many Spurs players in the way, but Rangers have it back, and it's a switch ball over towards Czerny.
Man into the path of Czerny on his weaker right foot. Decent strike, decent effort, saved easily and well by Forster. But again, this is just showing the back and forth nature of this game. I've got to say, Czerny, we don't see a lot of players do when it falls on their weaker foot. So many times to take it, slow it down, bring it back, have possession. At least Cherney's maybe trying to catch Forster out there on his weaker right foot.
Not a bad foot, not a bad effort really with his weaker right foot. It's just a shame though because there was an option to play it into the middle for Bayrami as well, but Spurs lose it again.
Cherney back on the ball on the right hand side. Brings it further in on his left boot, whips it out to Hefty on the left. He looks to fizz one into the box, and there's just no one who can get on the end of it there. And is it? Oh, it's Bayrami again. He almost injures himself, tries to cling on to the bar, and he nearly takes a. He almost swings himself off of it, doesn't it?
It's painful, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. As you say, the ball is played across, and Bayrami does that thing that players do sometimes where they sort of swing on the crossbar in frustration, but he sort of grabbed the crossbar, lost his grip, hit the deck slightly awkwardly. But yeah, I mean, it was really Rangers should be 1-0 up there, I think.
And that's a lovely ball in from the left-hand side. Looking at total attempts, 5 for the host, 4 for Spurs. So it's always been opening up now. Forward come. Postecoglou side, Werner into the middle to Bentancur. Further wide to the right hand side to Porro. Links up with his winger on the right hand side, Johnson. Back into the middle to the Uruguayan Bentancur. And again, seemingly Spurs, it's either one side goes forward or the other does, or Spurs have possession and are trying to slow the game down and control it. Johnson further into the area to Son. Back out to the right hand side to the Welshman. This is a little better from Spurs, but I would say Rangers are doing very well then. That's terrible from Pedro Porro. Cherney picks the ball up, slows it down maybe with the pass just behind Yilmaz, but Ikeman has the ball on the left-hand side. Cherney's there again. He tries to pick him out, almost a little bit too predictable, but Diamande gets in. He'll go for a strike at goal. Fortunately, just leaning over the ball, never really cleanly strikes it. But again, hefty for Rangers, costing them a bit of the ball and then chances for Spurs. And then Spurs being the architect of their downfall again. Spurs,
I mean, they're gifting Rangers possession time and time again. And if they're going to keep doing that, at some stage Rangers are going to use that ball just that slightly bit better than what they have been so far. So now Spurs trying to get back on the front foot by going on the attack.
Son, he's got Werner to his left-hand side. Uses him, he's looked very lively as per usual. Timo Werner plays it forward to Bentancur. Tries to keep it alive. Good defending there at the back from Rangers. Just keeping it alive and keeping it in play. Forward it goes. Good header run. Good jump there from Dragusin. Now it comes further into the middle for Rangers. Out to the left hand side. Hefty. He'll be up and down that flank all evening long. He's looking for options. If he wanted to take a touch and whip an early cross in there, didn't really see much on. The two wing backs are looking to put the ball in the box. It's back into Raskin. Back into Diamande now. And again, Rangers will probably just probe with a little bit of possession. And I think right now both teams look vulnerable when the game is at a back and forth pace, as Hefty looks to again pick up the pace. Ball pass out to Tavernier. Can Werner get there? The captain does well to come away with it. Out to Cherney. He's had a good game so far. Back into Tavernier. Takes a touch. Will he go for a strike goal? Dinks it over the top. Porro, good defending there. And then a strike at goal. It's always going to be awkward run for Rami there into the arms of Forster. And I think when the ball's like this, as I've tried to bring Paul in a second, but it's so fast furious it goes out of play actually. When it's at a slow pace, I think it suits Spurs. When it's back and forth, I'd have to say Rangers probably have the upper end to it.
I think you're right, and just looking at the way we saw it, you can see a really frustrated look on Ange Postecoglou's face there. I mean, that last move there, it was a quick kick out from Forster. Werner couldn't control it on the left, but as you say, it's a very fast-paced game, and it's almost like when Rangers slow it down to try and keep a bit more of the ball themselves, that allows Spurs to be picking them off quicker, and they then start seeing more possession. But then when Spurs try and play it quicker, then Rangers are getting the ball back off them as well. And here come Rangers again, but Hefty's ball is picked off here by Dragusin.
That needs to be better from Hefty down the left-hand side. Raskin, has he won it fairly off Bissouma? He has. Good play from the Rangers midfield and looking to come forward once again. Back into Diamande. Further wide to Hefty on the left-hand side. They're working it well here, our Rangers. That's a decent ball into the box. It's actually further into the back post. Was it last off of Tavernier or was it last off of Werner? I believe it was last off the German. And now another set piece for Rangers. And just one of them where I think the momentum is building for Rangers, but Spurs on the counter-attack, you can never really count them out to a degree.
No, you can't. I think that Spurs, I mean, with that attacking 3-4, I mean, you look at least one of their midfielders is more attack-minded than he is defence-minded as well. So it is a very attack-heavy team here from Spurs, but it's only going to be able to show that off if they're actually in attack, and they're having to do more defending here, Spurs, now with this Rangers corner.
Will be Cherney with the in-swinger, both arms in the air. A couple of players making those runs into the box, headed away by Spurs, and then Son clears it further away. Can he get back on the end of his clearance, or will Yilmaz let it run out of play? He lets it run out of play, and Rangers will have the throw. Just over 30 minutes into the game, independent off Tube Studio commentary of this Europa League clash at Ibrox. It's Rangers hosting Spurs. We are goalless elsewhere. We've got quite a few goals coming in. Lazio are winning away at Ajax elsewhere. Lyon and Frankfurt are one apiece. Porto beating Midtjylland at home. Looking at where else we've got Sociedad are 2 goals to the good. Elsewhere then in the Conference League, TNS, that's another game you can catch on this service, losing 1-0 to Panathinaikos. Shamrock Rovers are winning at home as well. So the goals are going in, getting to 3 goals to the good. Really waiting for the first goal here at Ibrox. Real first chance. It's been such a wide open game. Both teams have had chances coming forward. Both teams have committed to quite clearly playing some attacking, some good football. And it's one of them when I think of Rangers in Europe, I think, no, to a degree I think it's a problem. They're so used to dominating every single game they play. Then they come up in Europe against these teams that, like Spurs, are very similar to doing it. I think it's awkward and a bit hard for them sometimes to disassociate that we should be the better team.
No,
sometimes.
Absolutely. I think it's a problem that's not just Rangers, but Celtic and teams from other leagues where there tends to be 1 or 2 very strong sides that dominate. I mean, you could say similar sort of situation with PSG, potentially Porto and Sporting in Portugal having a similar sort of situation where they're always bossing their own leagues and dominating, but then they can't quite always do it when they come up against European opposition. But credit to Rangers. I mean, Spurs have been a little bit disjointed, but Rangers are growing into this game, and the possession stats very even here. 47 for Rangers, 53 for Spurs.
Czerny goes for a strike at goal, just over the bar. It was off balance and slipping as well, so he did very well there to at least get his strike off. And at first it looked like it was troubling Forster, who just lets it go over the bar. Sly arm in the air to ensure it wasn't dipping in only to his goal and into the back of the net. But this is good from Spurs coming forward. Porro, was that last off of the Spaniard, and will it go for a Rangers throw? Yes, it does. Raskin picks it up and goes further back. Opportunity now for Rangers to play out with Sutar into Czerny, back to the defender. Again, Rangers are just slowing it down. Of course, we're not for 90 minutes. We're not going to get this fast-paced action, so maybe you could see maybe the next few minutes of both teams trying to maybe slow it down, get on the ball, to then maybe have a bit of a pick-up later on in the first half and ensure the energy levels stay high in the second half. Archie Gray, good interception there. Poor pass into the middle though, and now it's back out to Yilmaz on the left-hand side. He's got Hefty as an overlapping run. He wants to whip one into the area. It's into the back post, and Czerny picks it back up. Looks to dink one into the area. No, it's not a bad cross, but no one is in the area where the cross would come. Now Spurs have the ball back with Bentancur, dispossessed easily. The referee says illegally though, and I think there also is a stoppage as Sutari's down. If he was to go down, that'd be a massive miss for Rangers. Always a key cog in the machine for the host, and you never 33 minutes into a game want to be making a change out of an injury related one.
No, you don't, and it's particularly when it's been going so well for Rangers, don't do anything really to break that up, but they're already looking towards their bench. And as I say, sometimes you can just tell from the players' body language, from the way that everyone's sort of reacting and scrambling on the bench, that they can tell straight away that isn't right. So it may well be that John Sutar is going to have to go off, which would be a real shame for him, real shame for Rangers as well. But it's one of those where if a hamstring or a quad or anything like that is gone, then he's not going to be able to run that off. There's no kind of heat or cold spray that's going to be able to let that pass. So he's going to have to go off the field, and let's hope it's nothing too serious.
I think that's why sometimes you can see off the ball ones out there. Unfortunately, obviously any injury is terrible, but if you get clattered into and have an ankle where you might have done something, right, that's the cause of the issue. I say we're just going to see it back here. Just makes a pass.
Yeah. Is it his standing foot? Or is it his left foot that just turns here? Yeah, it's his left ankle. His left ankle turns just as he passes it with his right. I mean, the good news is that he's walking off his own steam. There's no stretching. He's not even not having to lean on any of the medical staff. So that's a good sign. But the fact that he's walking off so gingerly tells me that there's obviously something wrong there.
It looks like, I think Balogun is ready to go off of the bench, so the substitute is confirmed. Suter will be going off, number 5, and Balogun, number 27, will be coming on. I did cover the Rangers game at the weekend when they visited Ross County, and Balogun was an absolute colossus at the back for the visitors there. So it's not a bad substitute to make, and again, it's one of them, isn't it? Let's just say Suter says, look, I think I could carry on, and then you get Timo Werner running at you, and you're on a sore ankle, and it makes it worse and worse and worse. You turn it again, it goes from let's say, a couple of weeks out to a couple of months and this and that. You just don't want to take any chances.
No, absolutely not. You have to sort of think as well. I mean, the Scottish schedule over Christmas is just as hectic as ours, although they don't have, obviously, a New Year's Day fixture, but they still get plenty of other games in towards the end of December, start of January, and it really is important that they can check him out as quickly as possible. There's a slip there from Butland as he makes his clearance, but it gets through to Bayrami anyway, who clears it up towards the halfway line.
Udogie has the ball now. He's looking to drive forward. He's got the overlapping run of Werner. Udogie still coming forward. Ball back to him from Werner. Decent one, but it's really good defending there. Balogun, his first chance to get on the ball, and it's one of sliding the ball and taking away from Udogie. So they're still coming forward, still creating chances and still creating havoc to a degree. Spurs, I mean, both sides are really, aren't they? But yeah, we're just really waiting for that goal and that one real clear-cut chance. Maybe it falls for Son, maybe it falls for man up top for Rangers, but Bentancur has it now just inside the Rangers half. Because you see how high of a line that is, because actually is the furthest player back, and he's around 10 or 15 yards into the Rangers half. Out to Maddison. Further infield now it goes back to Maddison. The Spurs number 10 tries to play it outside of his right boot. That's a little bit of a risky one there. Yes, if it pays off, you're probably looking at it flying on the left hand side to Werner. If Journey just gets that touch a little bit lighter, he can probably pick the ball up and carry it further forward. Back to Butland, 36.5 minutes on the clock at Ibrox. And after the opening 36.5 minutes, then both sides will feel that the game's there for the taking, as you said earlier. Out of Clement and Postecoglou, who do you think would be the happier manager, though?
I think that Clement will be happy with what his team have done, but he won't be. Well, just to say that, Butland's giving it away.
Madison picks it up. That's really good tackling there out of the back. Not from Raskin, though, who gives away the foul. And I think he's a Paul.
Yeah, Madison's still in pain there, but this is it's not the first time. It's not the first time in the last couple of minutes that Jack Butland's made an error from his goal kick, from his pass back, and he's just clearing it long. Gets it all wrong and plays his side into all kinds of trouble, forcing Nicholas Raskin really into giving that free kick away. But to get back to your point, what you were saying before, I think that Clement will be happy that his side have had the chances that they had, maybe frustrated that they've not taken them, whereas I think overall Postecoglou will be the more frustrated that his side haven't really got into the game so far.
He always looks a frustrated figure as well, does the Australian on the touchline regardless. It looks like Madison will be the one to take this and going at keeper blunders. I did cover the Manchester United game earlier when Andrea Onana just passed it straight to the Victoria Pilsen players, so very similar to what Jack Butland did there. So there's mistakes in everyone in football. Madison over it now. He's got a short option in Pedro. Dinks it over into the back post, looking for Brennan Johnson. Will almost let it go out of play. Clears it away. I think the referee's given a corner though, saying they clear it in time, and now Spurs will have the ball back through a set piece. Waiting on confirmation of that. We're just seeing one of the linesmen on our independent off-tube studio coverage pictures. It will be Son who comes over. It will be an outswinger. Opportunity for the Spurs man. 3 corners apiece. This is the 6th of the game. Son to step up. There's options. Punts one into a good area. Headed away. Well, if off for Trackerson on the edge of the area. He picks the ball up. He's got a chance. He goes back to Bissouma. Back into Madison now, a bit more space open up. Lovely ball into Werner, fantastic defending, but Werner still comes forward. Strike at goal from Brennan Johnson, well saved by Butler. And it looked like the chance had gone for Werner. He did so well. The linesman flag has gone up, so something would have been checked or anything like that about offside. Perhaps it's Werner, perhaps it is Johnson. Actually, and he was offside. Really good decision.
Yeah, the flag does go up, but after all we've been saying about how well Rangers have played, that's how easy it would have been for Spurs there to take the lead in this game, and that's something that Clement's side do have to be aware of, that they just need to be that little bit more cool and collected in front of their own goal, and a couple of easy giveaways from Butland as well.
Will be Butland to take the goal kick, free kick I should say, just inside his penalty area though. Udogie heads it down and it's intercepted well, and Rangers have the ball through Diomande all the way out to the left-hand side. It will actually go back to Butland in goal. Good pressing from Spurs. Almost a one-man press here by Son, though. Cleared the lines by Rangers. Further wide to Udogie on the left-hand side. He's Bissouma. Looks to Dink out to the right-hand side to Pedro Porro. Lovely ball if it works out. It has. Now we're further wide to Madison. You've got Son. You've got other players making and busting a gut to get into the final third. Back to Bentancur. Out to Udogie. 40 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes to go. Again, right now, I think this is what Spurs need to do, ending this first half. Get on the ball, knock it around. Again, maybe just try and rile up this Ibrox side, because you need a little bit of something, don't you? Just have an air ball put in, he clears away for a corner. I said about set pieces, maybe this is a set piece and the one that changes things.
Well, this is where Spurs can improve just by the quality of their crossing. Sometimes it's not that easy to get things going in terms of how the team is set up, how the players are getting things done in midfield. But here, this is an opportunity. It's just a set piece. Spurs need to get a good ball into the box to actually test Jack Butland, and we've still got around 5 minutes to go before half-time.
Looks like it will be Son as an in-swinger to put the ball in. He takes it shot to Madison. Back to Son, who will he put it in now? Yes, he does. And there was a bit of a collision in the area because everyone seemed to stop as soon as that Son cross came in. Either that or it's trickled out for a goal kick. The referee doesn't say anything, so everyone seemed to stop for a moment there as if there was a kerfuffle.
Yeah, I thought that Archie Gray was going to try and sort of maybe backheel the ball. I think in the end he sort of left it thinking it might be going on, or he couldn't quite get a foot to it, and it just goes wide of the goal. But yeah, a couple of minutes there, we're looking a bit better for Spurs. And so, yeah, we've still got a few minutes before half-time, but I'm still thinking that Clement will be the happier of the two managers. His worry is going to be that Spurs have to be better in the second half, and that's where Rangers have to be very careful.
I think as well, at the end of the day, Rangers, of course, they always want 3 points. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're happy to go away with 0 points, but a point for Rangers at home to a quote-unquote big Premier League, big dog, it's a good opportunity. Here comes Igmane, plays it out to the wide, out to the right-hand side into Cherney, fakes it on his left. Back to Tavernier, that's a half-decent ball into the back post. Can the man keep it in play? He does. It's Porro's forced to come over though and just help out. Now back to Raskin. It's all the way back to the right-hand side. 42 minutes, we're just about to tick over into back to Cherney. Again, he's been a dangerous man so far this half. You have to say him, and in the middle, Raskin's done very well as he just gives away. Just give away foul. The referee gives it as a free kick, and you do look, of course, live table. Teams have played, teams have not played, and blah blah blah. But right now, they do sit high up in the table. Rangers 8, Spurs 9th, level on the same points. The goal difference is what separates them, and I feel this is one of those games where it might be won by 1 or 2. It could be a lot of goals, but it will be that. It might be, I could see it being 3-2, for example, Spurs. I could see a lot of goals, but not a big goal margin.
No, well, I say we talked it up before the game. This is going to be a game where both teams will score and both are very open. But actually, despite that, there have been some bright moments from both teams, but they're also sort of cancelling each other out in terms of just lacking that little bit of midfield quality to actually be consistent in front of goal. And I think, yeah, both teams are going to be looking for some sort of improvement in the second half. But yeah, certainly from Rangers' point of view, I'm impressed with them. Perhaps a little bit disappointed with the final ball into the box. But here they go again now with Irami down the right-hand side, but his cutback is to nobody.
Again, as you said, I think that's been the problem, is that both teams have got in the area. Just that final ball, final pass, final strike at goal has just been missing. Quickly, you spoke about earlier, the bench, you would say, of course, it's a Premier League bench, isn't it, really, for Spurs? That they've got options to come on and really make a difference. Rangers, man, I like the idea, I know what he was trying to do, but the execution was poor, unfortunately, and it will just trickle into the arms of Fraser Forster. 90 seconds to go before the 45.
You just see Clement there, just saying calm to his players. I think that's the point, isn't it? That he wants them to just be that little bit more composed in front of goal, because he can see they're getting enough possession and Spurs are making enough mistakes, but Rangers perhaps aren't capitalising on it.
They're just not being maybe patient enough, either. They'll get the chance and almost snap at it because it's a chance and it goes. But again, maybe the stereotypical thing is, you're right, you won't get a lick in this game, but they have done very well. Have the hosts, that could be a part that they're on some good form. Of course, we're at home, that's here nor there, but again, Spurs have the ball. It's a ball pass from actually Gray into Bentancur, but Spurs midfielder does get it back into Porro, looks to set through Son on the right hand side. He brings it back in to the middle. Porro, that's unlucky there from Son, not the best pass in the world, and the referee's put his lines, and the flag has gone up. Apologies, I think that was probably for Son's run. And I think right now, again, it's just one of them where Ingerman, he's a good striker. I think he's better on the left hand side as a winger. Son, very similar. There's no real classic number 9s, but both players are fantastic finishers regardless. They just haven't been fed it all this evening.
They haven't. No, I mean the two best chances for Rangers haven't even fallen to Ingemane. They've been to either defensive midfielders in the form of we saw Behrami getting forward. We've seen Cherney from the right wing, and of course the left back Yilmaz has found himself in that striker's position a couple of times as well.
On the ball, cleared away by Butland. All eyes on the referee. Let's see what added time we get, if we do get any. Spurs still on the ball with Porro. Looks to bring the ball away out of his feet. That's going into Bentancur. Further wide to Werner. First time pass, is he taken down? Referee says no. And here come Rangers. Only the 1 minute of added time. So to a degree, last chance saloon in the first half here for Rangers. Diamondi out to Cherney. That's some good play. Takes it on his weekend. Right foot strike at goal at the front post. Saved away by Forster. And again, what I like about Cherney there is it the best chance in the world? No. But by taking it down the byline, as he's still coming forward, puts one into the box, easily dealt with by Spurs. He's almost very similar to the volley he hit. It's almost just giving that the next time that happens, it might give him more room on his left foot, because in the back of the mind, he still might go on his right foot straight down the byline. More options for him. Yeah, I think so, and I think that from credit to Forster that he makes that save, because we were expecting Cherney to put it back onto his left foot. Forster makes the save, and he gets a little bit of luck with the ricochet, because obviously that could have gone anywhere. But Rangers ending the half strongly, and there'll be plenty for Spurs to think about at half time. And just as we say that, the half-time whistle does go. Real back and forth, for no goals as of yet, but both teams have really turned up the heat and the action at Ibrox. But at half-time, it's Rangers 0, Spurs 0.